Do we want a future where we are forever confined to one planet until some eventual extinction event, however far in the future that might occur?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. How did Elon Musk become the richest man in the world? Well, one thing is for certain. He believed in Tesla,
a space that is less than the most popular pickup truck in the United States, the F-150.
he believed in SpaceX, and he did whatever he could to make them work. Truly believing in your project can go a long way. First, you want to be persuasive. Make something that not only customers would want, but a product that you are confident enough in to convince others to help you produce. Make others believe in your idea too. Try to solve the problem from the ground up in an original, innovative way, ignoring how similar processes are done by others. If you are passionate about your idea, nothing should hold you back from pursuing it. It is not enough for people to believe in an idea, they must also be shown that there is a real solution.
Really believing in your ideals and sticking to them.
When persuading others about your idea, you must be able to at least somewhat demonstrate your solution. Your project may fail, multiple times even, but believing in your idea, admitting to and recognizing your mistakes, and fixing those mistakes are what separate a successful venture from a failure. Even if you believe in your idea, you shouldn't assume that it is perfect.
So you have a pneumatic source. So you have yeah.
Think about a company. A company is a group of people that are organized to create a product or service. That's what a company is. So in order to create such a thing, you have to convince others to join you in your effort. And so they have to be convinced that it's a sensible thing, that that there's at least some reasonable chance of success. If there is success, that the reward will be commensurate with the effort involved. And so I think that's getting people to believe in what you're doing in you is important. In the beginning, there will be few people who believe in you or in what you're doing. But then over time, as you make progress, the evidence will build, and more people will believe in what you're doing. It's a good idea when creating a company to have a demonstration, or if it's a product, to have like a good mock-up, or if it's software, to have good demoware, or to be able to sketch something so that people can really envision what it's about.
I think it's also important to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. So the normal way that we conduct our lives is we reason by analogy. We're doing this because it's like something else that was done, or it's like what other people are doing. It's kind of mentally easier to reason by analogy rather than from first principles. But by first principles is kind of a physics way of looking at the world. And what that really means is you kind of boil things down to the most fundamental truths and say, okay, what are we sure is true, or as sure as possible is true, and then reason up from there. That takes a lot more mental energy. Somebody could say, in fact people do, that battery packs are really expensive and that's just the way they'll always be, because that's the way they've been in the past. No, that's pretty dumb, because if you applied that reasoning to anything new, then you wouldn't be able to ever get to that new thing.
There are just times when something is important enough, you believe in it enough, that you do it in spite of the fear. I came to the conclusion that my initial premise was wrong, that in fact there's a great deal of will. There's not such a shortage, but people don't think there's a way, and that if people thought there was a way, or at least something that wouldn't break the federal budget, then people would support it, which in retrospect I think is actually kind of obvious, because the United States is a distillation of the human spirit of exploration. People came here from other places. It's there's no nation that's more a nation of explorers than the United States, but people need to believe that it's possible, and that it's not. They don't have to give up like healthcare or something important.
Right.
It's got to be that's important. So I thought, okay, well, then it's not a question of will. It's a question of showing that there's a way. When you're building something new, there's going to be mistakes, and it's important to recognize those mistakes, acknowledge them, and take corrective action. Okay. And the success of a company is very much more about how quick are you to fix the mistakes, not will you make mistakes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you see the difference between
a startup that is successful and one that is not, and it's because the successful one, they both made mistakes, but the successful one recognized the mistakes, fixed them very quickly, and the unsuccessful one tries to deny that the mistakes exist. I learned it when I was studying physics. In physics, you're taught to always question yourself. You're taught to always assume that you're wrong, not assume that you're right, and you have to prove yourself not wrong. That physics framework is really where I learned it, and it's very effective for learning counterintuitive things that aren't obvious. If you only do things that are certain to succeed, then you're only going to be doing very obvious things.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and consider subscribing for more motivational videos.